Um, I was a very smart child, but I was not a graceful child, nor was I a child blessed with any sort of common sense that came naturally. I had to learn this stuff the hard way. As evidenced by when I was 7 years old, I was performing stupid human tricks on a tricycle outside in the gutter in front of my house. Isn't 7 too old to be on a tricycle? Yes, but the stupid shit that I did on 3 wheels made my parents understandably hesitant to put me on 2 wheels. So I took my very first big spill. It was a winter day, and I had my jacket on and my sleeves over my hands like this. And I was driving this little tricycle, and I had the front wheel in the gutter, this wheel on the blacktop, and this wheel on the curb, and just doing, of course I took a spill, because I'm not a graceful child. And I got no business doing stuff like that. And I landed on the street, chin first. Ooh, so much blood, so much pain. And this was my first big spill. Like this was major to me. And I was freaking out, and everybody who was outside saw I was freaking out. I ran into my mom. I'm also the oldest child, so it was my first thing. It was also her first thing. Having a child like bleeding profusely, screaming for her. And she panicked, and she's supposed to be my safe space, so I panicked. It was just this big festival of panic and no experience. And so she says, she's trying to clean me up, and the blood just wouldn't stop. And she says, you busted your chin open. And I was like, I've never heard that before, and I didn't know what it meant. Like, can you see my throat? Can you see the back of my neck? I don't know what this means. And I was so scared to look at it in the mirror. Like, can you see bone? I'm just so frightened. This is just uncharted territory for me. And so she decided I needed medical attention. She took me to the doctor, or she took me to somebody that I thought was a doctor. Looking back on it, he was somebody I didn't recognize as had been to see him before. He was a big, burly Paul Bunyan of a man. Giant beard, no lab coat that I remember, like flannel, maybe gloves, maybe not. And I'm screaming bloody murder, and he's cleaning me up, and I'm screaming bloody murder, and he says, we gotta put some stitches in there. Well, you gotta numb it first, and so he's holding me down, and I'm screaming, and he's shooting shots into my wound, and I'm just losing my mind. And my mother was so scared, she had to leave the room. She was in the lobby, like, rocking herself, just, her ears plugged. And finally, when he calmed down, because apparently I was squirming, and he had to kind of help me. Got me calmed down, got me numbed, and put some stitches in. 7 stitches in there. So I was this, like pale-faced child, whole blonde hair, and just Frankenstein all across the bottom of my face, and it was disgusting. And I had to wear these stitches for what seemed like 3 years, but it was really like, I don't know, 2 weeks or something. And went back to the doctor, different doctor, I don't know, and he took the stitches out, and he kind of lectured me, and he said, no, listen, he says, no more shenanigans. Like, you are not to be doing this kind of stuff again. You split your chin open. Do you understand that? And I went, no, I still don't understand what the heck that means. But he didn't stop to explain it. He just said, no more tricycles for you, obviously. And he says, you have got to be more careful. Which put the fear of God in me that I was going to, at any wrong move, open this thing back up. And I don't know how possible that is. I'm not a medical professional, but he did put that fear in me, and I do everything very carefully. I wasn't an athletic child by any definition, but I did even less running and jumping and playing and running into walls and things like that. So I just wanted to make sure, because I was going to be damned if I was going to go through that experience again. So after I got the stitches out, I'd wear a Band-Aid on my face every day for about a week, and then the Band-Aid came off, and I got a little more confident. And I was at school one day, and we were at recess, lunch recess. So it was not only kids playing, it was kids playing with like popsicles and snacks. And I didn't have any friends. So I was this creepy kid on the edge of the playground, just standing like this, just watching everybody play, like a weirdo. And I saw one kid, one little boy, walk up to another little boy with a full bag of popcorn and dump it over the other boy's head. And I thought that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I gotta tell those kids about that, because maybe if I run over and tell them about that, I'll say something that'll make them laugh, and then I'll have friends, like present day. So I took off running across the blacktop, not thinking about what might happen. And I took off running, and at the same time, at the same speed, a stray cat took off running from over here, and our paths intersected, perpendicular, and we tumbled, and we collided, and he got away scot-free. He just kept running. I hit the ground. On what part of my body? My chin. And I can't, I got up, and it hurt so bad. And I thought, I'm not even gonna look at this, because I don't wanna know. And somebody saw me, and they said, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm fine. And then recess was over, went back into the classroom, and I'm certain I've opened this thing back up, and you can see my everything's, and so I was holding it closed, and got back into class, and I didn't even want to go look in the mirror, because I didn't want to attract attention, and it was cold. It was cold inside the school. We have metal desks. So for the rest of the day, I had one hand on my chin, I had the other hand on my desk on the cold metal, and then I would just switch off. Like, this is like icing a wound, right? Yeah, it's like icing a wound. Because I'll be damned if I was going to go back to that nightmare of a Paul Bunyan doctor and have him hold me down while I screamed into his beard and he jammed a needle into my face again. Not happening. And I'll tell you what, that was 40 years ago, and to this day, if I talk too much about my chin, I have to still hold my wound shut.